Hello and welcome to Kingston Now. I'm Jimmy Buff. This week we have wildlife educator Bill Robinson here to talk about some of the amazing raptors we have in the skies above us. We have fitness on our minds too with Mark Wilson of HITS Endurance, and with us now is Kristen Wilson to talk about this weekend's Live Well Kingston event. Hi Kristen, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Now I'll just point out you're no relation to Mark Wilson who's coming up next to talk about triathlon, right?
Right.
But Live Well Kingston has sort of a fitness overtone to it. Is that part of the coalition and the whole idea behind Live Well Kingston?
Well, the idea behind Live Well Kingston is to create a community environment that promotes and supports healthier lifestyles. So, yes, we would love to see people in Kingston be able to engage in physical activity on a regular basis and be able to find affordable access to opportunities for physical activity. But we also focus on healthy eating as well.
So tell me about the coalition. Who is involved in the coalition of Live Well Kingston, and how long has this been around? Because I was surprised to find out about it recently.
Yeah, well, we've been around for about 6 months. The mayor set a proclamation on June 13th, 2013, and putting the coalition into existence. But we're really actually built on a partnership that's been in existence for 4 years through a project that we had called Healthy Kingston for Kids, and it was funded by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. And the purpose of that project was to work on reversing childhood obesity through environmental and policy change. So our coalition grew out of that partnership. And our major players are City of Kingston Parks and Recreation, the Ulster County Health Department, Rose Women's Care Service is an organization that's been working with us, the Community Heart Health Coalition, Health Alliance, and many, many others.
So what is the vision for Live Well Kingston? Is there an end goal to it? Are there programs involved? Are there events happening?
Well, the ultimate vision is for Kingston to be a community environment where healthy choices are the easy choice. So we would love to, our motto or our tagline is building a better Kingston to walk, bike, eat, and play. So the idea is to have a Kingston where it's easy to go for a walk, it's easy to go for a bicycle ride, it's easy to find healthy food, whether you're at a sporting event at Dietz Stadium or in your after-school program or eating school at lunch. It's easy to find healthy choices.
Some of those walk, ride stuff initiatives are really well underway. We've got rail trails being refurbished and built and being extended. So that aspect seems to have a lot of momentum. It's the eating stuff that really sort of intrigues me, because how do you change that? How do you change people's eating habits?
Well, it is very complicated, and for me as a project director of Healthy Kingston for Kids, I found the eating part to be very challenging as well. During Healthy Kingston for Kids, we focused on proliferating gardens. So there's a new community garden in front of Kingston Housing Authority site down in the Roundout Gardens. We also worked on healthy after-school snacks. We came up with a healthy after-school snack policy for after-school programs to adopt and then ultimately serve only healthy snacks in after-school programs. So the idea or the premise behind what we're doing with Live Well Kingston and with Healthy Kingston for Kids is to make the environment for healthy food, make healthy food available kind of everywhere in the environment. Mm-hmm. So it's easy to make that choice rather than mandating to people, you need to eat this way and this is your diet for the week. It's more of a community-based approach to wellness than an individual-based approach.
Yeah, and I know from experience, if I'm hungry and I have a choice of eating something healthy or not, I'll pick the healthy food. But if I have no choice, I've got to eat.
Yeah, exactly. And it's sort of the same thing in the workplace. I know that if there are cookies on the table, they end up in my mouth. But if
put an apple on the table instead.
If there are apples or fruit on the table at work, then it's easier for me to make that healthy choice. I don't have to make the choice between eating junk food or not eating.
You have a summit tomorrow evening. Can you tell me about that?
It's actually, tomorrow evening, on Thursday, January 23rd. It's going to be at the Kingston High School. And it's going to be a really big event. It'll kick off with the mayor giving a State of Kingston's Health address.
Oh, that's going to be interesting, yeah.
Essentially, he'll be talking about where we are with health in Kingston and then some of the initiatives that are coming together to improve health and improve the environment in Kingston for health. We will have active living presentations and healthy eating presentations. So we'll have Zumba, yoga. The YMCA is going to do a presentation on, or a workshop, or really a class on how to sit and get fit. So appropriate for people who might be disabled in some way and still want to sit and get fit, or just want to sit and get fit. We'll have healthy eating presentations by some dietitians. ShopRite will be there with dietitians. We'll also have MVP and Hudson Health Plan. They're two health insurance companies that have now merged, and they will be doing a presentation or a workshop on getting health insurance. So anybody who's uninsured might be able to find the right health insurance plan for them at the Health Summit.
Well, it all sounds like a terrific initiative. Coalition sounds good. Before I let you go, though, I just want to, Cornell Cooperative Extension is your day job, right?
Cornell Cooperative Extension of Ulster County is my day job, and that's the organization that supports all of this. We have a memorandum of agreement with the city. The coalition is a city-based coalition, but Cornell Cooperative Extension is currently coordinating and supporting it.
I just want to give you guys kudos because it seems like every good thing that is going on in the city of Kingston in terms of health and wellness, Cornell Cooperative is involved in, whether it's this or whether it's the purchase of Gill Farm to be turned into a sustainable farm hub. Mm-hmm. You guys are doing great work, so keep it up.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Kristen.
All right.
You're watching Kingston Now. Next, it's Mark Wilson of HITS Endurance to talk about some exciting changes to this year's Kingston Classic. Welcome back to Kingston Now. The Kingston Classic is getting a big upgrade this year, and here to tell us about it is Mark Wilson of HITS Endurance. Hi, Mark. How are you?
Doing great, Jimmy. How are you?
I'm all right. Now, we go back a ways. When I first met you, you were a triathlon enthusiast. You were doing races and training, and then you went and made your passion your life, your business, which is really an extraordinary thing and an inspiring thing to see. You started the Hudson Valley Triathlon Club. Then from there, you moved into personal training. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly, a couple of years ago, HITS Horse Shows in the Sun expanded into triathlon. And here you are, race directing triathlons and now running events across the country. Right. How did that happen?
Which part do you want to start at? Well, first of all, when I was training for triathlon, I started in 1997. And I loved the sport, of course. And what I discovered was people just kept asking me questions. They thought that I was somebody with some sort of authority at that time, and I was always very helpful and helped them with their swimming and so on. And I discovered that, there really is a need for a club around here to get things rolling. And also, when I discovered that people were asking me all these questions, I thought perhaps I could make a living at coaching. And I've always loved teaching, but I didn't know that sports I would do well in coaching, but it took off like crazy. And that led me to the coaching, and that's where I met Tom Strazzeri. When he turned 50, his wife called me to give him a birthday present, and so she purchased 5 sessions with me, and all I needed was 3 or 1 rather. We did the first one. I figured take the easy one. We started with a run, and then a bike ride, and then we went to the pool, and of course that was the most challenging. But he took the next 2 sessions in the water, and really we liked the way he liked the way I work, and liked my style, and we got along great. And so we trained for 2 years together, and during that period, while he was getting more fit and planning his races in triathlon, because he was never a triathlete before, he said, "Do you think we could start a triathlon company together?" And sure, why not? Why not?
Let me think, yes.
Yeah, why not, of course. But I did actually take some time to think about it. I knew it was going to change my life. I really did know it was going to change my life big time. And that was a big commitment that I had to make because I knew it was going to take me away from home, which I love very much here in Bearsville, New York. And I love being with my wife. I've got great support from her. And so now, after working from home for 13 years, I was now going to be traveling a whole lot and working in an office in Saugerties, New York, which is the home base for HITS. And it just took off. So I spent a whole year finding all the venues for a triathlon, for HITS Triathlon Series. So it didn't create for a whole year. At the end of that year, actually, December 2011, we started in Palm Springs, California, which is another home for, it's the West Coast home for HITS Inc., for the horse shows. So we started there, and we had our opening day, and then we started 2012 going like crazy with practically 10 events around the country, from Napa, California, Palm Springs, California, and Naples, Florida, Hunter, New York, now Hague, New York. And we also have Waconia, Minnesota now, and just expanding to 10 events, and it went great. So we had a first good year. We survived the first year, and with Tom's support, and I got better at what I did, and kept learning from all the feedback that I got from the athletes, and just kept going from there. I'm really living a dream life. I just can't even believe the life I'm living. It's incredible.
Yeah. And the sport of triathlon has exploded too,
For sure.
from the time when you started and when I started till
Oh,
now.
yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
you guys expanded into running events just a couple months back, and now you have partnered up with the Kingston Kiwanis Club to put on the Kingston Classic, which has been a 10K and a 1 mile run for a few years, right?
2.1.
2.1, yeah. Uh-huh. And a big upgrade is that this year it's a distance for everyone, which is your triathlon slogan.
Yes.
It's going to be a 1 mile run, a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, and a marathon.
Correct.
That's a lot to take on in the first year.
It sure is, but we're so used to it now. This is what we do. I just returned from Naples, Florida, where we did 5 triathlon events in 2 days. And we purchased the Omaha Marathon, and we debuted as a running company in September. Went very well. And we added Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and Austin, Texas to the plan. And we did 5 distances in 1 day for running, and we also added a sprint duathlon. So 6 races in 1 day. It was incredible. It's at this place called COTA, Circuit of the Americas. It's a Formula One racetrack in Austin, Texas, and it was all on the grounds.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
So yes, now we thought, when we heard that Kingston Classic, I know from years ago that it had great numbers early on, and I love to run that race, the 10K, and the Kiwanis took it over, did a great job of bringing the numbers back up. It's now around 1,000 athletes per year, and just honestly, they have full-time jobs. Those guys are all volunteers, right? It's a real, if you're going to really have a race that succeeds, you have to have paid people running it. And so we approached them and said, instead of us creating our own race here, why don't we just team up and do this together and really put our full-time people, like myself and other people on our staff, to make this work and blow it out. Let's really explode in this, and let's add the other distances that we do. It's really not too tough, as long as you know who's going to be where, when. I mean, I make it sound like an easy job, like a brain surgeon saying, well, it's really not that difficult. You just open them up and go in there. But honestly, I mean, I don't want to compare this to that, but honestly, you just have to understand the logistics and the flow, and once you get that and know the numbers, then it works well.
The Classic is in April this year.
That's right,
And
April 27th.
April 27th. And between now and then, in fact, you just started this past Sunday, there are training groups for people who want to sign up for the Kingston Classic and train between now and April. Perhaps they want to upgrade from the 10K to the half marathon or marathon distance. So a really great opportunity for people to expand their running distance and horizons. And with the help of people like HITS Endurance and HITS Running, seems like a good thing.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's why we set up the training programs every Sunday starting at 7 a.m. sharp. Don't be late, of course, because we want to encourage people to do some sort of movement. I mean, you really should get involved. I mean, it doesn't matter if you have never run before or if you're a seasoned veteran. You should come out and do the best you can at any distance you want. And we don't want to leave anybody out. And usually everyone knows someone who runs, and everybody has a club that they belong to, or they're being coached by a coach who has a stable of athletes, and we want everyone to come out and be involved. And as a coach, I know very well that you have athletes at various levels. So you want all of your athletes to be at one location so that you can go and encourage them all and have the other athletes support the people who are doing the 1 mile and the 5K, and then they turn around and support the marathoners who are running. I mean, that's the point that has to change in this country. It's going very well, but the goal that I have personally is get people moving in this country. We've got to start moving. If you don't move at all, you don't have to become an Ironman triathlete or a half or
even a
marathoner.
Yeah.
You don't have to be really fit and enjoy very good health.
Yeah.
So that's my goal.
And you, of course, still have the Hudson Valley Triathlon Club. So if anyone wants to get into triathlon, that's such a great way. You do such a great job with introducing people to the sport.
Thanks,
Mark,
man.
thanks for coming today.
It's my pleasure, Jimmy. Thank you, man.
It's Kingston Now, and next we're going to fly with wildlife educator Bill Robinson and one of his birds. You're watching Kingston Now, and we're joined by Bill Robinson of Robinson Wildlife Lectures. Hi, Bill. How are you?
Hello, how you doing?
I'm all right. Now, we have a mutual friend, and when I told him you were going to be on the show, he said, "Oh, I remember him catching frogs in Palinville when we were kids."
That's right.
You've had a lifelong fascination with the wildlife in the area, haven't you?
I have. I've always liked animals, especially birds, and all kinds of birds, but within that group, the birds of prey have always been my favorite, yeah.
And they're extraordinary birds. I had the pleasure of seeing you at the Town of Ulster Public Library recently do your presentation, one of your birds of prey presentation. And the birds in this area, just amazing animals, aren't they? The owls, the hawks, the falcons.
Yes, and they're quite common, believe it or not. In fact, just coming to the studio today, right across the street, there's a laundromat, and there was a red-tailed hawk sitting on a telephone pole, right, overlooking Broadway. So you can see them anywhere, everywhere.
Now, is that that's not unusual to see a hawk in a city setting? I mean, they're going to get fed, they're going to get their food supply and things like that in the city?
They've adapted to do that, yes. Even in the middle of New York City, in Central Park, there are red-tailed hawks nesting.
Yeah.
And I think there's 16 pairs throughout the 5 boroughs of New York. So they're just not a wilderness bird, they've turned into an urban bird as well.
How are the skies above the Hudson Valley in terms of bird population compared to when, for instance, you first got interested?
Well, when I first got into it, things were really bad. Bald eagles were endangered, peregrine falcons were endangered species. The effects of DDT were still going on, but now that we've banned DDT and the environment is getting cleaner, all these birds of prey are coming back again. Every single species I can think of is increasing in numbers.
I saw you at the library presentation. You had about 80 people there, and you had a bunch of cages, not just one.
Right.
And every time you brought out one of those birds of prey, the look on people's faces was extraordinary.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that ever get old, seeing that surprise, that wonderment on people's faces?
I still have the wonderment. So.
Well, that's great. Well, you brought a friend of yours here, I guess.
I did. He's an old friend. He's 21 years old.
21 years old, and he's
a turkey vulture.
Well, let's meet him.
Oh, sure. Let's see.
Now, is that a long time for turkey vultures to live?
Oh, no. He could probably live 40 years or so.
And do they live that long in the wild, too?
Well, if they make it through their first year of life, yes. The first year, they have to learn the ropes of survival, and after that, their chances to survival go way, way up.
He is just amazing.
Now, you didn't say he was beautiful.
Well, it's hard, that's a face that a mother could love. I guess only a mother could love.
That's right.
Though this is the closest I've ever been to one, and up close, I would give him a A+ on the beauty scale. That is some
We don't have
face.
to. Well, some people, when they first see him, think that's an ugly bird. He doesn't have feathers on his head. He eats dead things. Being a vulture, he's not colorful. But the thing I've always liked about wildlife is that every creature I've ever seen has had unique adaptations for survival. And when I bring him out and I'm talking to an audience, I tell them about his adaptations, and that's what brings him alive and makes him really interesting.
Tell me about the holes on his beak.
Well, he sticks his head right into a carcass. If he finds a deer, he makes a hole in the tough leather hide, and that's hard to do. So once the hole is big enough, he puts his whole head in there. And that's why he doesn't have feathers on his head for cleanliness. The animals he's eating are filled with germs, they're decaying. And if he had tiny little nostrils like other birds, they'd get clogged up too when he puts his head inside a carcass. So vultures have big nostrils, and you might be able to notice if his head is at the right angle, you can look in one end of his nose and right out the other side.
Yeah, I see you through the other side.
Yeah, so that's not a nose that's going to get clogged up very easily. So he's adapted for that way of life. And
now, unlike some of the raptors I saw you in your presentation,
Yeah.
his claws look more like a chicken's as opposed to the sharp talons of an owl or something.
exactly, yeah. Birds of prey Generally, the predatory birds have powerful feet with sharp talons, and that's how they kill their prey. Vultures land on dead things, so they don't need that adaptation. Another interesting thing is talking about his feet. You know, if you go to grab an injured vulture, you know, trying to help him, he doesn't know you're trying to help him. A hawk will protect himself by grabbing with his feet. The vulture doesn't have powerful feet, so he doesn't do that. Instead, even though he's frightened, he'll just turn around and face you. He lets you get closer and closer, and when you're close enough, he opens up his mouth and he throws up on you. And it works. It makes you go away. It's the worst smelling substance in the world. So another interesting adaptation that he's got for protection.
And we're glad here on this set that he's feeling very comfortable.
He
Bill,
is.
Again, your presentation, your wildlife presentation for birds of prey, and I know you do reptiles as well, just fantastic. And I know you do libraries, right? You do
Libraries, schools, museums, outdoor education centers. Yeah, it's good. The kids enjoy it. It's entertaining, but I try to make it so they learn something about it, too.
Well, the parents enjoyed it too. I can tell you that. And just before we go, you have a long history with this bird. Is it possible for you to have the bird say hello or goodbye? Or
He can wave goodbye to you.
yeah.
Wave goodbye. Jimmy, wave goodbye. See? He has no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just moving my hand a little bit, and he's keeping his balance. You can feel the wind from those wings.
Terrific. Well, thanks again, Bill. That's it for this week's show. Thanks to Kristen Wilson. For more about tomorrow's Live Well Kingston event, go to livewellkingston.org. For more about the Kingston Classic, go to KiwanisKingstonClassic.com. And to book Bill Robinson for a wildlife presentation, go to RobinsonsWildlifelectures.com. Remember, all of our previous shows are available on our YouTube channel, and you can find that link on our Facebook page. For Kingston Now, I'm Jimmy Buff. We'll see you next time.